Hello everyone and welcome to another ENGRAMAX. Lady Louise and I say hi to you. Okay, today we'll be talking about reported speech. Look, I assume that you know the basics about reported speech. Although we are going to review some basic rules about reported speech, but if you are not sure, if you are familiar with the basics, you could go and watch our video, our intermediate video on reported speech on this very same page. Okay, let's start with the first slide. Reported speech. The basic rule you need to know for this lesson. This is the basic rule. This is the first rule that you learn when you're studying reported speech. We generally push the tense of the verb one stage back in the past. Again, I have explained this in detail in our intermediate lesson. Example, the direct quote. I have found the remote control. Present perfect, he said. This is a direct quote, we call it. And the reported quote is, he said he had found the remote control. As you can see, we changed present perfect to past perfect. We always do that. We generally always do that. We push the tense one stage back. Okay. The most important rule is to sound natural. Look, you don't always have to push the tense back one stage in the past. It is not set in stone. It is not an exact science. The most important thing about language is to sound natural, and people could easily understand you. So yes, although we have a general rule according which we push the tense one step back, but it doesn't always work like that. You need to pay attention to this important thing. Example, I'm happy to help you, she said. The direct quote. This is in present simple. I am happy. She told me she is happy to help us. Okay, so could I say she told me she was happy to help us? Yeah, of course, but this is not wrong either. Reporting modals. We change will in the direct quote to would in the reported quote. I will see you tomorrow, the direct quote. She said she would see me the next day. Remember, we don't only change the tense, we also change time references, place references, people's references. And here it says tomorrow. Tomorrow, when the direct quote is being told, tomorrow has one meaning. When you are reporting that quote, tomorrow may not be tomorrow anymore. You know, it could have been weeks ago, or years ago, or centuries ago, or you take it to the end. So, I will see you tomorrow. She said she would. We changed will to would. She would see me. This is like something is missing. See me. Not we me. See me the next day. We change tomorrow to the next day. Another modal verb is can. We generally change can to could. Example. Direct quote, Mary can swim for an hour non-stop. He told me Mary could swim for an hour non-stop. Could we say can? Could we keep it that way? Yes, of course, but this is better in most situations. Another modal verb is may. We change may to might. Jack. This is the direct quote. Jack may have seen him going away. She said Jack might have seen him going away. Change may to might. Another modal verb, we change it into something which is not a modal verb. Must, we change it to had to. I must stop him because we cannot push must any further into the past. Must is always must, and there is no past form of any modal verbs for that matter. But anyway, we change it to had to. I must stop him. She said she had to stop him. Reporting modals. Might, should, could, and would generally don't change. You should rest. This is a suggestion. She said that. That is optional in here. I should rest. Reporting conditionals. For real situations, meaning the first conditional in here, we change the verb form. Example, the direct quote. If we leave now, first conditional, comma, we'll catch the train. I told him, look, when you use tell as a reporting verb, you need to use an object. You cannot say, I told this. No, I told him. I told them. I told him that. That is optional. If we left, look, leave to left, then we'd catch the train. We will to we would, or the contracted form, we'd. Reporting conditionals. For hypothetical situations, it means the second conditional. If it's about a possible future, don't change. What does that mean? It's very simple. Look, you say, if it is still possible to happen, if the future is still the future, you don't change the tense. Example, if you came back next week, I'd be able to help you. All right? Look, because next week is still next week, so you don't have to change came to had come. So I'd be able to help you. So we say, she said that if I came, we keep it that way, back the next week or next week, because if next week is still next week, you could say next week. You don't have to say the next week. She would, again, we didn't change it, she would be able to help me. For hypothetical situations, again, second conditional, if it is about an impossible situation, or your future is not in the future anymore, it is already in the past, we change the tense. We say, if I were you, I wouldn't jump. It's an impossible, we call it an impossible situation, because I couldn't be you. She said, if she had been me, so this is past simple, we change it to past perfect. If she had been me, she wouldn't have jumped. Instead of wouldn't jump, wouldn't have jumped. Reporting conditionals for hypothetical past situations, which means the third conditional. We cannot and we don't change anything naturally. If you had been more careful, the accident wouldn't have happened. The reported form is, she said, if I had been more careful, the same. The accident wouldn't have happened. Okay, we talked about the general rules and the specific rules about reporting sentences or reporting quotes. Now, when we are reporting a sentence or a statement or anything, we use reporting verbs. Look, we have a long list of reporting verbs. We are going to cover some of them today and the basic rules about them. Look, some reporting verbs are followed by a that clause. We say, for example, I promise you that I will do this for you. We call it that plus the following clause. We call it a that clause. Okay, these verbs are followed by a that clause. Not always, not necessarily. You could follow them with some other things probably or not, but we know that we could definitely follow them with a that clause. Okay, you can see the list in here: add, confirm, feel, predict, say, admit, and so on. You could write them down somewhere. Example, I'll pay you back soon. Look, we don't need to say, he said he would pay me back soon. We may want to be more creative about it instead of always using say or tell. This is a promise. So you say, he promised. That is optional. He would pay me back soon. And the guy is still waiting to be paid back, apparently, in here. So, another group of reporting verbs are the verbs which are followed by a person plus to plus verb. So, this is a short list of them. Advise, forbid, invite, persuade, tell, ask, instruct, order, remind, warn, and many others. Example, he advised me, the person, or an object. He advised me to stop, to step back from the platform. They invited us to take part. He asked the big guy to carry the bags for him. She forbade Tina to go into that room. Another group of reporting verbs could be followed by subjunctive or should. Subjunctive is an unreal situation. We have a lesson on subjunctive. If you're not sure what it is, go and check it out. Okay, or should. Suggest, advise. You see, we have advise here as well, so it is not like, it doesn't belong only to one group or another. Agree, demand, insist, prefer, propose, recommend, request, urge, and so on. Example, he advised I, should is optional in here. He advised I take the course next year. Look, this is not present form. This is the base form. We don't change it. This is subjunctive. Example, we suggested she hurry. We don't say we suggested she hurries. This is always in the same form. We call this subjunctive. He demanded the government legalize weed. All right. Reporting functions. Some verbs describe a function. We could report them as functions. It's very simple. I'll give you an example and I'll explain on the example. Example, if I were you, I wouldn't pay them first. Okay, this is like a second conditional. Reported normally, we say, okay, like following the general rules of pushing the tense back one step. She said if she had been me, she wouldn't have paid them first. Okay, but listen, this is a piece of advice. You don't want to report it like a normal sentence. So you say, we report it as a function. We say, she advised me not to pay, infinitive, not to pay them first. Of course, this is not wrong, but, you know, this is more presentable. Reporting functions. Another example. Could you pass the salt, please? This is a request. This is not a question. So reported normally, she asked if I could pass her the salt. This is a stupid, like, we say, like, we tend to report it as a function. We say, she asked me to pass her the salt. This is much better. Another example. I'll kill you if you touch my sandwich. This is a warning or a threat. If we reported normally, we say, she said she would kill me if I touched her sandwich. We push the tenses back one stage. But we report it as a function. We say, she threatened to kill, infinitive. She threatened to kill me if I touched her sandwich. This infinitive in here is the key. For most functions, except when we use subjunctive, remember, suggest and recommend. These are the most dangerous ones. Except these, and maybe some here and there, we generally use an infinitive when we are reporting a function. We say, he advised me not to do that. He warned to sue me, or something like that. Change of viewpoint. Look, this is common sense. And I have, again, explained it before. You can check my video on intermediate reported speech. This is common sense, but I always explain it anyway. Change references to time, place, and person. This is pretty clear. I just give you an example so you'll understand. I called you 10 times yesterday from this office. You see, a reference to a person, you, reference to a person, yesterday, reference to time, this office, reference to place. So when you are reporting the quote, like, these references are not necessarily the same thing. So we say, instead of I called you 10 times, he said that he had called me 10 times the other day instead of yesterday. If you want the complete list of changing the references, you could go and check my intermediate video on this one. So 10 times the other day, this is only one of the choices you have to report yesterday. You could say the previous day, the other day, that day, the preceding day, and so on. Instead of this office, we say that office. Again, it's up to you how to change it. It depends on the situation. All right. This was our lesson on reported speech. If you liked it, like the video and tell your friends about our page. See you next time.